And I also want to thank Lauren Steiner, who came up with this very good idea. Since Hillary is here, why not take advantage of it and send her a message, especially since she's having her fundraiser at the particular spot that she's having it. So I also want to thank a new group to town. It's called Our Revolution Los Angeles, the former Bernie people, and they helped pull this together as well as some of their organizations, Al-Awda, Jews for the Palestinian Right of Return, which is my group, and yay! And here, without further ado, is Jim Lafferty. He is the Emeritus head of the Executive Director of the National Lawyers Guild of Southern California. He also has a radio show on KPFK every Thursday night. Here's our MC, Jim Lafferty.
Clinton's website says that, with respect to Hillary Clinton and Israel, that she has a 30-year record of friendship. Anybody here want to deny that? No. Because she is sure as hell the best friend Israel's ever had. And indeed, there are a lot of people who believe it. Clinton is asking Zionist support for her election, of course, because what is she doing? She's promising that if she's elected, she'll do all within her power to get rid of boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Never mind that that's one of the main goals of the Israeli government itself right now. Never mind, as we'll hear a little bit later, that there's a bill pending in the California legislature that attempts to do the same damn thing. Israel's good friend Clinton also supports Israel's illegal so-called security wall, displacing we don't know how many people from their homes and their jobs and their families. Good friend Hillary denounces the United Nations declarations condemning Israel every time they make one. She condemns the UN for condemning Israel. She never hesitates, of course, to condemn Hamas's attacks on her friend Israel, but somehow loses her power of speech when it comes to the far more devastating, far more illegal war crimes, inhumane crimes perpetuated by the Israeli government on the people of Gaza. So it's really not surprising when a number of prominent Zionist Democrats claim that, and I quote, Hillary's support of Israel is unprecedented. Because they're right. Israel simply has no more loyal supporter and friend than Hillary Rodham Clinton. And tonight, in recognition of that fact, one of Israel's biggest political supporters and financial supporters is hosting that fundraiser for her. Why not? It's going to be money well spent as far as he's concerned. And it will be from his point of view. And if Clinton does win in November, history, of course, will remember her, though, as just another one of those sleazy politicians who rode into office in part on the backs of the brave Palestinian people. But sisters and brothers, I've got some news, and I think we're going to be delivering this news to Hillary Clinton's crowd tonight, and to those who are filling her coffers, that all over this world, indeed all over the EU already, and the EU itself, Israel is already seen as a pariah nation. It's the United States that's out of step. It's Hillary Clinton that's out of step. It's a bigoted, undemocratic, warmongering, occupying nation, an apartheid nation, a nation knowingly practicing collective punishment on the Palestinian people as surely as the Germans practice collective punishment on the Jewish people in Germany. By now it should be clear to Israel and to Hillary Clinton, though, as it is and has been for some time to the Palestinian people, that Israel, no matter what it does, will never be able to break the will of the Palestinian people.
That's right.
History is on the side of the Palestinian people. And when history finally records Hillary Clinton as nothing more than a damned politician like the rest of them, history's road, which is getting shorter and shorter at this point, will instead, though, remember with respect to Palestine that the Palestinian people, never giving up their will be free. Long live Palestine, and long live the Palestinian people. So, that's why we're here. First of all, I want to introduce somebody who I've heard about for a long time, and we just got a chance to meet today. Nana Gyamfi. Nana Gyamfi is an extraordinary lawyer. She's a human rights attorney extraordinaire. Yes. She's with Justice Warriors for Black Lives. Nana, please, come on up here.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So pleased to see folks here representing Justice Warriors for Black Lives, human rights advocacy, Black August Los Angeles, and a whole host of other Pan-African international revolutionary organizations who have been dedicated to dealing with this issue of Palestinian freedom. And we are here to tell Hillary Clinton in no uncertain terms that Palestinian human rights are not for sale. That Zionism is genocide, pure and simple. And that this movement, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, is one of the greatest, most important movements since the anti-apartheid movement against the regime in South Africa. It comes from the same roots, and in fact, Palestine and the Palestinian people were amongst the strongest allies of African people, and specifically dealing with this issue of the anti-apartheid government. While the United States and Hillary Clinton's mentor, Henry Kissinger, was supporting apartheid, was supporting the genocide of African people in South Africa. And so we're not surprised that she's a 30-year friend of genocide. We're not surprised that she's a 30-year friend of internationally globalized white supremacy, as it shows itself in the area occupied since 1948, also known and rightfully known as Palestine. We are looking at a country in which water, the access to water, has been used as a weapon. How low do you have to be? How low do you have to be to take people's water away? But oh, you know, they did that also in Detroit, Flint, Michigan, and all kinds of other places in this country, with Hillary Clinton and her allies knowing what's happening and going right along with it. And so we cannot separate ourselves as Black people, as African people, anywhere from the struggle of the Palestinian people. It was immoral for the United States to support the apartheid regime in South Africa. It is certainly immoral for the United States and Hillary Clinton to support the apartheid regime of Israel. We who believe in freedom, to borrow from Ella's song by Sweet Honey in the Rock, we who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Free Palestine. Palestine will be free.
And by the way, our next speaker is from UCLA. He's a pro-Palestinian student activist at UCLA, Robert Gardner. One of the places they're really trying to shut down on criticism of Israel, as you know, is on our campuses. So we really need students and speakers like the next person I'm about to introduce. In many ways, they're really carrying the flag of the fight right now in strong terms. So let me introduce then again Robert Gardner, pro-Palestinian student activist at UCLA. Where is he?
Hi, my name is Robert Gardner, and I'm here as a pro-Palestinian human rights activist from UCLA. I'm here today for two reasons. First, I am here to express my outrage that Hillary Clinton is here once again accepting millions of dollars in donations for her super PAC in exchange for her opposition to the BDS movement, to oppose our constitutional right to BDS, and to deny the recognition of Palestinian suffering. Second, I want to talk about the experiences that Palestinian students and allies like myself are facing on campuses across this nation because of the harsh environment that Hillary Clinton perpetuates when she denies Palestinian humanity in exchange for cash. Now, why is Clinton here today accepting millions of dollars in donations at a Haim Saban fundraiser, one of the most notorious anti-Palestinian millionaires in America? Well, because he's a billionaire, folks, and wherever there's money, the Clintons follow. So it doesn't surprise any of us here today that Hillary Clinton, in exchange for monetary funds, would oppose Palestinian human rights. Hillary Clinton, just how much money does it take for you to recognize that Palestinians consume less water than recommended for the average human being? How much would it cost you to recognize that the Palestinian people are living under occupation and colonialism, are forced to live under separate legal systems, are rendered homeless by Israeli bulldozers, humiliated by checkpoints and segregated infrastructure, and subject to racialized state violence where they are met with live ammunition, rubber bullets, and tear gas? How much would it cost, Hillary Clinton? How much would it cost? Second, Palestinian students and their allies have come under attack from anti-Palestinian activists. For example, posters have been put up in and around UCLA accusing us of being anti-Semitic Jew haters and terrorists. Last quarter, they even posted our names on posters, again accusing us of terrorism, all in an attempt to scare and intimidate us into submersion. This phenomenon is not only limited to UCLA, for this tactic is being utilized across the nation against those who are calling for universal human rights. And because our politicians, like Hillary Clinton, continues to accept millions of dollars from Israeli lobbyists in exchange for opposing our constitutional right to boycott, a First Amendment right utilized during Jim Crow and apartheid South Africa, this type of anti-Palestinian anti-Palestinian racist environment is becoming ubiquitous across college campuses. Hillary Clinton, Palestinian human rights are not for sale. And no matter how much cash you receive this evening to shield Israel's inhumane policies against the Palestinian people and to violate our constitutional right to boycott, we, the people, will not yield. Because like Palestinian human rights, we are not for sale.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a woman I've gotten to know through what the great new Black Lives Matter movement.
How's everybody doing today? Awesome. I'm sorry that I'm just now learning what's going on in Palestine, and it upsets me and it makes me hurt. So I have to come on a more of a view of emotions and feelings. And what I'm feeling from what I've just heard is that Hillary Clinton is doing the same thing that they've done to us here, which is suppress people for trying to use their voice to uplift what is going on in their communities. And I see that is wrong, that's evil. And so they have a lack of empathy. They have a lack of love. They have a lack of humanity. And so one thing that folks have out here is love and humanity. And so I just want to state what Hillary Clinton has done to the black people in America. Millions of young black men and women motor in prisons today because of the war on drugs. Because the war on drugs is waged disproportionately against black Americans. They serve absurdly long sentences for minor drug offenses, non-violent and victim-free. This is the core of mass incarceration, and millions more are on parole and probation because of this. Branded as felons, these folks will be these folks will be handicapped. I don't like to use big words that don't need to be used. Handicapped for the rest of their lives. Their criminal records will relegate them to menial and low-paying working jobs. This will encourage their return to damaging lifestyles. I know what it feels like not to be able to eat, and your stomach is touching your back. And when you can't eat, you have to go find a way to eat. And so this is another trick of the devil, I like to say. It's because they're using our what we need, what we should have, what we deserve, and they're putting it against us. This will impede their access to drug rehabilitation programs, educational benefits, food stamps, and public housing. In many states, this will deny them the right to vote. Now, I just was charged with a felony, and now I can't vote. You know what I mean? Like let's look at what they're doing to us. And Hillary Clinton is calling black children super predators. So in the eye of her and her family and everyone else, we are super predators. So all I'm asking is that we stand together, that we mix these both communities and learn that this right here, it won't be done unless we unite, unless we fight back together. Because as you can see, they're occupied territory. Like this is occupied territory right now, right? They are surrounding us. And there's not that many black folks here, right? They're surrounding you guys as well. So they're telling you that there's a division, of power. So together we stand, united we fall, divided we fall. So I'm going to ask you guys this, that we work with our intentions. We work from our heart, not just a place of being reactionary, but that we really sit there and feel the plight of the folks that are going through this problem, you know what I mean? And I'm sorry that I didn't join before and learn about what's going on in Palestine, because all I could do is see what's going on in my front yard, and in my front yard is occupied territory. In my front yard, we can't eat, we can't drink no good water, and this is happening not even in Flint. This is happening in Watts. There's no clean water in Watts. The place that I overheard you guys talking about. Nobody wants to move to 103rd. The reason why they don't want to move there is because there's no clean water. There's no resources, you know? So we just have to uplift each other, struggle, work together, and learn that this system is out against all of us. And Hillary Clinton is going to do nothing but uphold this capitalistic system, this white supremacist capitalistic system. And we all have to, in order to break it, we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to learn from the past.
Thank you.
So I love you guys and keep fighting.
Thank you.
Eman Khaleq is an answer organizer, but she is also a Palestinian refugee. So please, sisters and brothers, a warm welcome for Eman.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Iman. Like you mentioned, I am a Palestinian refugee. I'm an organizer with the Answer Coalition here in LA. And we're here today as supporters of the BDS movement, as supporters of Palestine and the right of return of all of its refugees. And we're here to declare that we will not vote for and we will not support the warmongering fake feminist that is Hillary Clinton. Hillary has been a supporter of apartheid Israel and is viciously excited to fight BDS. And when she's president, she's going to do more damage than she already has during the attacks in Gaza in 2008 and 2014 when she was Secretary of State. She has pledged to destroy BDS and has even promised to cross party lines and work with Republicans to destroy it. But we're here today also united to say that we won't let that happen. We will not sit idle while billions are poured into a campaign based on promises of destruction and war across the entire Middle East. We will not be silent when Palestinian families are being ripped apart by apartheid and continually bombed and starved of economic development. Hillary stands for war, and we stand for justice. And justice will not be served we will not stop until justice is served for all Palestinians. When a country doesn't carry out the U.S. government's interests, like Iraq in the 90s or Cuba since it's become socialist, embargoes and sanctions are thrown around left and right. But when it's Israel or even Saudi Arabia, and when actual human rights are being violated, there's no policies put in place against them. We must learn from and support the BDS movement. They've stood strong in the face of so much pushback and so much repression. Let's stand united and let's stand firmly in our principles to declare our support for the boycott, divestment, and sanction of Israel. We also demand, of course, an end to the occupation, a dismantling of the apartheid wall, and the right of return of all refugees to a free Palestine, because it will be called Palestine. Thank you.
She is has been a congressional candidate for peace. She is a driving force right now in the California Stop ABDS Coalition. She is Marcy Winograd.
Thank you so much, Jim and Karen and all the organizers and Lauren of the event. And Black Lives Matter, you know, during the grimmest period in our history, or seemingly, I stopped off at the Beverly Hills Library on the way here, and look what I found. This is the Jewish Journal. It is the newspaper in Los Angeles for Zionist Jews, and on the front cover it says, Black Lives Matter, where do we fit in? So I think that's a good sign. Where do they fit in? They should join us, right? We welcome them. Join us in challenging this unjust U.S. foreign policy that is now very actively reaching out to the states. Now, I want to say that I'm a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, and Esty Chandler is here among us. She's the chair of Jewish Voice for Peace, which is a terrific organization that is challenging current policy with Israel, U.S. policy. And one of the things that we are working on is to fight national legislation, both at the federal level and in the states, to basically criminalize supporters of Palestinian rights. The Israel lobby has introduced bills in over 20 states. When Mario Cuomo, the governor of New York, had a hard time getting his anti-BDS legislation through the New York legislature, he declared unilaterally on the way to an I Love Israel parade that he was going to outlaw state contracts with anyone, any company that boycotts Israel or divests from the Israeli occupation. He unilaterally took control of the teachers' pension fund in New York, saying he was going to prohibit the pension fund from investing in any of those companies as well. Here in California, I'm urging you tonight to fax Governor Jerry Brown. I have, Esty and I have flyers which we'll give to you, and we want you to fax him and urge him not to sign AB 2844. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the bill that is now going to the Senate floor this week would prohibit the state of California from entering into contracts worth $100,000 or more with companies that adopt some amorphous policy that would violate California's anti-discrimination laws. And in the bill itself, it says that a company that takes a position against a sovereign nation or people, including Israel, right, should not receive any taxpayer funding. This bill has been amended. When it first started, it was a Republican bill. Then the Democrats said, we want the bill. And it has been amended 8 times, okay? We've been very active in organizing delegations to visit our legislators to object to this as a violation of our constitutional rights. The sole purpose of this bill is to chill speech. There is no other purpose. To silence debate. We don't want to silence debate. The United States Supreme Court ruled decades ago that boycotts are a form of political speech deserving of the highest form of protection. So when we write Governor Brown, we want to remind him of this. Where does Hillary fit in? If you go on the internet, it's not hard to find her love letter to Haim Saban. It's literally a love letter. And she says, you know, I'm with you 100%. I'm going to do everything in my power to crush the movement, the campaign to boycott, divest, and sanction from Israel. So earlier, I think he gave her $6 million. Tonight, he's pledging $10 million. And for that, she is embracing this effort throughout the states to outlaw BDS and supporters of Palestinian rights. So we have to fax the governor, let him know what we think, and beyond that, we should be ready to challenge this in the courts. You know, if you know somebody who wants a $100,000 contract with the state of California, let's make sure they refuse to sign this affidavit. They have to sign an affidavit under penalty of perjury that they are not discriminating against, under California's anti-discrimination laws against Israel. So that's the bottom line.
But the good news is, not only did the Supreme Court hold the right of boycott constitutional many years ago, the bills pending all over this country now, including the one that's been amended 8 times pending in the California legislature, is unconstitutional as hell as a violation of the First Amendment. Now it's my pleasure to introduce one of the organizers of this event, Lauren Steiner. Lauren Steiner is with Our Revolution LA, but she's also had the distinct honor of being a delegate at the Democratic National Convention for Bernie Sanders.
Those of you who supported Bernie Sanders probably knew that his slogan was "Not me, us," and he said time after time, this political revolution is not about Bernie Sanders, it's not about any one person, it's about millions of people standing up and saying enough is enough, this country belongs to all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. Okay, so we got one of those billionaires right up there. This is not the first fundraiser that he's held for Hillary Clinton. In fact, he held one last May, which I protested right here, and it was a protest to tell Hillary to oppose TPP Fast Track. That's right. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, folks, is being called NAFTA on steroids or a global corporate coup d'etat, because if it gets passed, it makes corporations more powerful than even governments. So this is the 5th protest that I've organized against Hillary Clinton. My first one was October 2014. It was called a Not Ready for Hillary protest because she had just declared her intention of running for office, even though we knew she would be running when she lost in 2008. And it was probably her deal with Obama that she would endorse him and go quietly if he endorsed her in 2016. as well as made her Secretary of State. So basically, my line in that protest was, we do not want a neoliberal corporatist or a neoconservative warmonger as president. Because Hillary's whole career, from when she was the governor's wife as a lawyer sitting on Walmart's board, where she sat silent while the workers tried to unionize, and she sat silent while the corporations squashed them. Or supporting her husband's crime bill of 1994 that led to mass incarceration. Or supporting NAFTA, which led to the outsourcing of 5 million high-paying manufacturing jobs and the loss of 57,000 factories. Or her support of fracking. You know, she famously sold fracking to foreign countries as part of the Global Shale Initiative. She used that Secretary of State's office not for diplomacy, not for negotiation, but to open up corporations open up foreign markets to U.S. corporations. And that's exactly what the TPP is all about. Of those 29 chapters, only 5 relate to trade. The rest are all sorts of protections for, Hollywood movie companies, internet companies, big agriculture, Monsanto, you name it. So Hillary Clinton is in the pocket of corporations, and unfortunately, right now, we've got such a wacko candidate in the Republican Party that she is taking advantage. This woman has the highest unfavorable ratings, the highest dishonesty ratings of any candidate, and the only reason she's going to win in a landslide is because this other guy is such a nutcase, and he's clearly self-sabotaging himself because he doesn't want to be president. So she is using fear of Trump to get elected. And what she's doing with Haim Saban right now is showing her true colors. In the convention where I was a delegate for Bernie Sanders, his platform committee tried to get past 4 fairly innocuous amendments to the platform. One said that they needed to end the occupation, the other said they needed to end the settlements, the third said they needed to start an international effort to rebuild Gaza, and the fourth said they needed to remove the military option from the Iran deal. Because everybody knows that she was against that Iran deal, and like Haim Saban says, he just would, if they even look at Israel the wrong way, he'd bomb the entire country and use nuclear weapons. So basically, we are here to say Bernie Sanders' new group, Our Revolution, is, like I said, it's not about Bernie, it's about the issues. And one of the issues that he stands for and that we all stand for is Palestinian human rights. So we're here to tell her, not that she's going to listen, but we're here to tell her that she needs to listen to the people and not the billionaires, and to support Palestinian human rights. And for the next 4 to 8 years, we're going to have to keep doing protests like this to hold her feet to the fire on a whole bunch of issues. And follow me, because our next thing is going to be to stop Obama from passing the TPP in the lame duck session. Thank you.
I've never been to a pro-Palestinian demonstration and not seen this woman. She's been carrying on the fight for as long as anyone I know of, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce her now. She is the two groups that she is most identified with. For those of you who don't already know her, of course, is the Palestine Right to Return Coalition and Al-Awda.
I have just returned from an incredible trip to Palestine, where I met with segregated communities throughout the country. I visited multiple refugee camps and met with the change makers who have persevered through so much hardship. I saw the struggle on their faces, but there is hope, determination, and spirit in their eyes, and their hope has given me hope. It has renewed my commitment to amplify their struggle for unequivocal human rights. So any leader vying must do away with the hypocrisy. You cannot be the leader of our country and the leader of the free world and be selective of the rights you choose to support. You cannot decide to uphold the rights of some and expect us to be okay with marginalized others. We are here today because we believe all human life is sacred. Whether you're a person of color, a member of the LBGT community, a mother in Tel Aviv, or a child in Gaza, all human life is sacred. If Hillary truly wants to lead our country, then she must stand for the American ideals of liberty and justice for all. If she'd only look into the eyes of the Palestinians who have endured the hardest occupation of our time, she would know they are deserving of the same rights we are privileged to have. They are deserving of the same rights she affords those on the other side of the illegal wall that she knows is wrong. For someone who constantly preaches about the importance of nonviolence tactics to systematic oppression, it is deplorable and hypocritical of her that her fundraiser tonight revolves around her pledge to fight the grassroots BDS movement for Palestinian rights. By condemning the BDS movement, she is directly endorsing the continuation of violence. We cannot stand for this. Thank you.
I met Tony Lewenko, I guess it's a couple of years ago now. Is it first time? What's it? See what I mean? I'm always wrong. Everything seems like yesterday to me. And it was then that I became acquainted with the amazing work that he does with Sabeel on behalf of the Palestinian people. And so many people. So please give a warm to Tony Lewenko.
I want you to take a look out on the street. Look for the black limousine or the big SUV with the dark windows. You will not see Hillary Clinton today, even if we march. At the best, you'll see a black windowed limousine or a huge SUV passing by. She won't smile and greet us standing here to remind her of her decision to protect Israel against any criticism. And just as we do not see her, she does not see the children she has ignored over the years, especially those children who perished in the rubble of Gaza or who have become malnourished according to an intentional Israeli plan, or who have died of disease or injury for lack of medical care. A very young child can drown in the Aegean Sea, or a child can be pulled from the rubble of Aleppo last week, and the world wonders at violence against children. But they did not see the images and the wonder at the infants of children pulled from the rubble of Shujaiya. No, they did not see them. And if Hillary Clinton saw, she did not speak out. She has campaigned for years on her concern for children. Early in her professional life, she was the chairperson of the Children's Defense Fund. She was on the board of a children's hospital in Little Rock. She wrote a book in 2006 about how much community it takes to raise a child. She helped pass the Family and Medical Leave Act. She advocates for abused and neglected children. She has said that she, quote, realized that what I wanted to do with the law was to give voice to children who were not being heard. Nor does she see stories of the Palestinian children in the multiple reports of UNICEF, of Adala, of Defense of Children International, of Save the Children, of B'Tselem, of Human Rights Watch, of the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, or the Committee Against Torture in Israel. These are all establishment voices. Has Hillary Clinton ever acknowledged them? Not in public. Not at all. She has spoken out about the treatment of children in the Has she spoken out about the treatment of children in the 2013 UNICEF report on children in Israeli detention? The report declares that abuse is widespread, systematic, institutionalized, and unique. Quote, in no other country are children systematically tried by juvenile military courts that by definition fall short of providing necessary guarantees. Terror in nighttime arrests, physical and verbal abuse, threats against family, painful restraint, denial of food, water, and toilets, solitary confinement, coerced confessions in Hebrew, a language that they do not read, no access to lawyers or family, shackles during court appearances, transfer to prisons outside of Palestine. Israel signed the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1991. 25 years later, these abuses continue, daily, weekly, monthly. In 1991, Hillary Clinton was making herself into a progressive champion of children. From the rubble of Gaza to the bombed out and destroyed UN schools that sheltered children and their families in 2014's murderous onslaught, to the children watching as their over 30,000 homes have been demolished, to the child forced to sign a confession in a language that is not his own, to a young girl accused of a knife attack, bleeding to death for 1 hour on a road as soldiers kept medics from attending her, to the abused children in Israeli detention. This is no way to treat a child. But Hillary Clinton has yet to speak up or to speak out about Palestinian children. If she is a progressive, she is a progressive except for Palestinian children. As she raises her money tonight, the last thing on her mind will be protecting or rescuing those Palestinian children that she refuses to see or to acknowledge. Thank you.